Are you thinking of visiting New Braunfels or even moving here? Well, I've got a great video here that gives you a lot of pros and a few cons of living here or moving here to New Braunfels. So let's go take a look. Hello everyone, I'm Doug Vogel. I'm a real estate agent and a firefighter here in New Braunfels. New Braunfels is a great place to visit or move to. As with any city, there are pros and cons, good and bad with any city. One of the things that New Braunfels is really known about is how friendly it is. Family friendly, just overall friendly. Anywhere you go in town, you can usually see somebody that you know, especially after you've been here for a while, you get to know some people. It's just, it's not uncommon to bump into somebody either at church or HEB, any of the places here in town. So with that, New Braunfels is a small town. It just has that small town feeling. Yes, we are we're growing to be a big city, but it just has that small town feeling. We have your big restaurants such as Olive Garden, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, all those chain restaurants. But what we also have is some really good local restaurants such as Weisach Grill, or Gristmill, Muck and Fuss, which has some great hamburgers. All these are found on TripAdvisor as well as in the top 5 restaurants. So it's definitely great restaurants, but just that small town feeling where you can go get a great meal and have good service and just that small town feeling. Another thing about New Braunfels, just being friendly and stuff, is when you can walk around the plaza or the square right in the middle of town. There's tons of restaurants and local shops, bars, and antique shops, all that good stuff that you can walk around. And some of the places like Two Tarts Bakery, you can get a good cupcake, or you can go to the museums. Just there's all kinds of stuff to do. Like I said, New Braunfels is super friendly, and it's just a great place to be and to live and work at. Okay, let's take a quick break. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button and also the subscribe button as well. And if I can help you, if you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them below. I'll be happy to get back with you as soon as I can and answer the questions about our great town, New Braunfels. Definitely a pro of New Braunfels is how kid-friendly the city is. Not to kids, of course, adults too, but I just want to talk to you about all the things for kids to do here in town. One is the Children's Museum. It's called McKenna Children's Museum. It's right on San Antonio Street here in New Braunfels. It's a great place to be for kids. You can let them just go throughout the whole museum. There's all kinds of activities, even for the little ones up to, middle school or so. They can find all kinds of activities to get their brains going. So they have things outside, inside, great place to take them. So, if you want to get outside, now New Braunfels is known for so many great parks, like Landa Park, Fisher Park. So they have great trails and the spring-fed pool at Landa Park, so you can get in the water. Just so much to do in the parks. Now, if you're going to be in New Braunfels for the summer and want to make a little bit of a commitment, New Braunfels offers the Dolphin Swim Team. So really not a age requirement, as long as your child can make it the width of the pool, make it across. It's about 25 meters. Now, the biggest thing is they can't stop, or they can stop, they can't touch the sides or be assisted. So as long as they can make it pretty much across, they're on the swim team, of course, as long as there's opening. So great thing for kiddos to do to get their energy out. My kids have done it, and it really helped them swim and be confident in the water. So great thing. And speaking of water, Schlitterbahn. You ask anybody that has visited New Braunfels when they were a kid or growing up here, it's Schlitterbahn. Schlitterbahn is about on 17 acres, has lots of water rides, and from the little kids to the big kids to even adults, everybody loves Schlitterbahn. So it's a great place to go, especially during the summertime, to cool down. Now, if you're not into water, New Braunfels has several museums. One museum I'm partial to as a firefighter is the Fire Department Museum. Has fire trucks and old stuff in there. You can see just pictures of New Braunfels as it used to be, but also all the old fire trucks and hose, and it's just super neat to go into and take a look around. And right by the fire museum, just a few feet away, is the train museum. And they offer all kinds of old train cars and stuff that you can go into. So definitely stuff for kids to do if they don't feel like being in the water or outdoor activities. One thing, if after you've done all that stuff, is take your kid to Nagelin's Bakery. So they have great smiley face cookies, all kinds of colors, and they have big old smiley face on them. So if your kid is having a frown, give them a smiley face to turn that frown upside down. So it's a great thing for kids, and it's the oldest bakery in Texas, so it's a great thing to do and take a look at as well for adults. If they're not into cookies, take them to Two Hearts Bakery, which is right off the square or the plaza in the Braunfels for a great cupcake. And then if they're not into that, take them to Ray's Ice Cream. Ray's Ice Cream, they have two locations, one in Green, that's Gruene, or one just right off of downtown, right by the Comal River. So great ice cream for all. Now, I know that not everybody has kids, but some people have pets that treat as kids, so I can't ignore that. So make sure you can take your dog to the dog park, which is right off the loop here in New Braunfels, and there's a park for the small dogs and a park for the big dogs, and let them run off leash, and just it's a great thing for them to burn all that energy, and when they're done, they'll come back and crash and rest for you. So anyways, New Braunfels is very kid friendly. It's a great place to live, and it's definitely geared for families, and not just families, but just anybody that's likes a small town feel. One thing New Braunfels is really known for, besides being family friendly and so many other things, is the outdoor recreation. We have so much to do here year round, but especially during the summer months. We have two rivers here in New Braunfels. We have the Comal River, which is the shortest river. It starts and ends in New Braunfels, and we also have the Guadalupe River. So both rivers you can do tubing, and there's local outfitters that supply tubes and transportation to and from the exits and stuff like that. So one thing about speaking of that I need to emphasize is make sure that you know the local rules. You can get on the website and stuff like that, because it's not strict, but there's certain things that need to be the city does enforce on that. So just a little sidebar about the tubing. But again, tubing is super fun. We have the two rivers, but we also have Schlitterbahn, which is a great water park. It's been voted #1 numerous times, and it's over like 17 acres of land throughout New Braunfels. So definitely something that is age appropriate. You can take little ones to big ones, adults. People come from all around just to go to Schlitterbahn. So a lot of memories are made there for sure. Next thing is Landa Park, and all the parks here in New Braunfels. Like I said, we have Landa Park, which is like the gem of New Braunfels park-wise. There's so much to do and history there, trails. There's a spring-fed pool for kids to go play in. And again, that's the Comal River that supplies that spring-fed pool. The water's about 72 degrees, give or take, year-round. So it's a nice, refreshing thing for people to do. Another thing is Fisher Park. It's one of the highest points in New Braunfels, so it's a great park for everybody. Lots of trails to go on throughout the park. And speaking of trails, New Braunfels has several other hiking trails like Panther Canyon, which is right off of Landa Park, and some other trails throughout the city that you can go walk on. So there's all kinds of stuff to do in New Braunfels pretty much year round. Now we can't forget about our pets. New Braunfels has a great dog park here in New Braunfels too, kind of on the south side. So it has kind of sectioned off so you can take your small dogs, they can have theirs, and another section for your bigger dogs. So you can just take your dogs out there, let them off leash, just let them run. wear themselves out. So that's where I take my dogs. They really enjoy themselves, and they have a little water fountain so they can get a drink too. So we can't, like I said, we can't forget about them. Now, New Braunfels has all kinds of things to do year round, and you asked about the weather. Well, in the summertime, we're in southern part of Texas, so the weather gets hot, and it's not unusual for the weather to be anywhere from 90 in the high 90s to over 100 for days on end. So, and without any chance of rain, stuff like that. So sometimes are hot, humidity comes in, so it makes the water recreational sports very attractive, but there's also lots of other stuff to do besides getting the water. During the winter, average highs anywhere from 62 to 66 degrees throughout the winter. When I say winter, that's pretty much December, January, a little bit of February. That's our winter, and so it gets a little cool, and it'll get down in the 30s and maybe in the 20s, but usually gets back up at a little higher temperature during the day. So like I said, there's so much to do, outdoor wise, really. The weather is great year round here. It does get hot, but there's so much to do to work around the weather here. Another pro of living in New Braunfels is all the festivals, and when I say festivals, just gatherings and stuff that we have here in town. New Braunfels is German founded, or founded by the Germans, so we have lots of German activities. The first one is the Wine and Singer Fest, and that's WEIN Singer Fest, usually right around the last week of April or the first week of May, that weekend. It's just a big salute, or just a party for wine. There's all kinds of activities such as grape stomping and wine testing, and just a great thing. And this usually occurs right around the plaza. The police department shuts down traffic, where it's just a great activity. So there's music and all kinds of activities. Great time for sure. Another one is New Braunfels has a great July 4th parade, where they bring in all kinds of local businesses that have parade or floats and stuff like that. And then also we have a great fireworks show that's over the Landa Lake and Landa Park area. So July 4th is a big thing here in New Braunfels. Another one is the Comal County Fair. This is usually like the last week of September, and it's just a great place to be. You can enter crafts or food and stuff like that, and plants to be judged. Adults, children of all ages do this. So, and then they have bands and rodeo, and it's just a great thing. They have amusement rides and stuff like that. So my kids have entered stuff over the years and won tricolors to all kinds of ribbons. So great thing for all. Speaking of parades, the July 4th parade, there's also the Comal County Fair Parade, and this is like the parade of New Braunfels. It's long, but it's so fun. Anybody and everybody is in it. People bring their antique tractors and horses, and just it's great. So make sure you stick around for that. And the city even closes down the Friday of Comal County. It's for Fair Day. The whole city offices, everything shuts down for Fair Day. So if you're trying to get anything done in the city, it's next to impossible. So take lots of pride of the Comal County Fair. One thing that you need to know about is Wurstfest. That's a 10-day salute to the sausage. Wurstfest is located, has its own grounds right there by Landa Park and Landa Drive. And this is nothing but a bunch of food and German music, and lots of people coming together, and lots of German beer. Just a good time. They do have some amusement rides and stuff like that that they bring in, and things to do, but it's more centered for adults, but children can come there too and eat and stuff like that. But lots of people come from all around, from Austin, San Antonio, and this is a big deal for New Braunfels. It's a big money making event, and the money goes to nonprofits, so it's a great thing. Last thing is Wassail Fest. This is usually right around the first Thursday of December. It's again back to the plaza of the square of New Braunfels. We shut it down again for local businesses and charities and stuff have competition of selling or sampling wassail. And so wassail is a German drink, and you can get alcohol in it or non-alcoholic. So, but again, that's super good for people around the neighborhood, or not neighborhood, the community to come out and join together. One additional thing about New Braunfels is the growth. It's definitely a pro for New Braunfels, and some people that have been here forever or don't like it, but New Braunfels is growing. Just being located between San Antonio and Austin and Texas, it's coming. So it's definitely a pro in my book, just to all the growth that's coming. One thing is all the new construction. We don't have enough housing for all the people that are coming here, but New Braunfels has been very proactive of getting subdivisions and new growth new housing coming. So that's definitely a great thing about the city, that they're being proactive in accepting the change that is coming. Talking about the city as city services, like the police department, hats off to them. They are a great department, good response times. According to Neighborhood Scout, they're about 42% rated as the safest city throughout the United States. You may say 42%, but you got to take in, that's all the big cities and small cities all combined. That's again, this is according to Neighborhood Scout, but having lived in New Braunfels, it's super safe, and their police department is very courteous. Of course, they'll take care of business when they need to, but they're very aggressive and taking care of what needs to be done, but also being proactive as well. So hats off to the police department. They're a great department. Fire department, again, I'm kind of partial to them as well, working there. Fire department has 6 stations with one new one coming, and so they're big about response times, making sure the response times are at or below the national average time, because of course the time is everything for the fire department, and being low. Talking about the fire department, the EMS system there is very aggressive, and just making sure they're top notch. We know what we're doing. Sometimes we're setting the tone for things that are national EMS stuff. So a lot of things are tried here in New Braunfels that are may not be the norm here. So very aggressive EMS system, which is excellent for the citizen visitors of New Braunfels. Speaking of like EMS, New Braunfels has 2 hospitals. There's Resolute Hospital, which is located by Target, right off of 35, and then there's Christus New Braunfels Hospital, which is kind of right in the middle of town, near Schlitterbahn. So both hospitals are excellent hospitals that can take care of anything from stroke, heart attack, to minor trauma stuff. But anything major trauma, that major accident, stuff like that, you're going to have to go to San Antonio or up to Kyle. Both places have trauma hospitals, so that's one thing that New Braunfels doesn't have yet. Someday we will, but for the most part, both hospitals can handle just about anything. So it's a great thing about New Braunfels. One more thing is, with all the growth, is more things to do and services here in New Braunfels. As the growth comes, it's a good thing, because it just gives us more opportunity to stay here in New Braunfels versus having to go to San Antonio or Austin to get whatever we need or do. So it's definitely, the growth is coming, and I embrace it, while others don't, but it's a good thing for all. Additional pro that I want to talk to you about New Braunfels is it's located between Austin and San Antonio, right on I-35. Austin's to the north and San Antonio's to the south, and so it's conveniently located to both towns. Now, Braunfels is about 30 minutes to San Antonio. Kind of depends on what part of San Antonio you want to go to, but it's also about 45 minutes located to Austin. So, of course, traffic can vary and stuff like that, but as a general rule, 30 to 45 minutes you can get to either place or to either town. So, and speaking of towns, now New Braunfels does not have a major airport. We have a little municipal airport where people come and go, but for the most part, if you want to fly any distance anywhere, you need to go to Austin or San Antonio. And I've flown out of both places. San Antonio is really easy to get in and out of, but I found that the rates are a little bit high. Austin, if you want to make the drive, the rates are cheaper, and it's just a further drive. It's not hard to get in and out of, but it's just a little bit further away. So, it's your choice. Check both. If you're flying into New Braunfels or San Antonio or something, just make sure you check to see what's best for you. So either one's a good airport. Back to being located between Austin and San Antonio, we have big stores such as Target, Hobby Lobby, Home Depot, Lowe's, all that good stuff. But what you really need to know is all the small stores here in town that we have. We have a plethora of small businesses and that serve anything that you would need or provide anything. And a lot of them are right around the plaza. We have all kinds of stores around there. And also we have a small town called Green. It's actually part of New Braunfels, and that's Gruene. It's German, of course. But Green offers so many shops that you can spend easily half a day. And there's restaurants there such as the Grist Mill that you can go take a look at or go eat at. So, and we also have like a farmer's market if you're in for some crafts and vegetables and stuff like that. It's all fresh. That's a great thing to do as well. So, yes, we're located between Austin and San Antonio, but we have everything that you need here in this town. So it's a great place to be and to come visit. Okay, talking about all the pros of New Braunfels, there are some cons. And the list is short for New Braunfels, but there are a few. One is the traffic and growth. Again, I embrace it. I'm okay with it coming, but it does create some tension sometimes, such as the traffic on Highway 46 South going towards Seguin from 35. If you're coming into New Braunfels from like Seguin, the traffic can get backed up, and especially in the mornings and the afternoons as well. So you could add an additional 10 to 15 minutes of drive time on there. So definitely traffic is an issue. Another issue of traffic in town is around Creekside or the Target right around 35. Now the city and state are working on that, trying to alleviate the issue, but again, you can spend 20 minutes going through several stoplights, and it's just part of the growth. So it is an issue that some people complain about. You just have to know the back roads, and if you have any questions of how to kind of circumvent some of the traffic, definitely shoot me a comment or text, and I'll do my best to get you around town to avoid that. And some people say, with the traffic and growth is the commute to San Antonio and Austin, because you can't just zip to San Antonio anymore or to Austin. Sometimes you can, but odds are you're going to run into some kind of traffic going either way. So, that's one reason I embrace the growth here in New Braunfels. That way we don't have to go there. So that's the way I look at it. Another thing is the land's being developed so fast here, all the growth. So it's just, you see old farms and acreage and stuff like that you remember, it's like, being wide open, deer and all that, and cows running on, and next thing you know, there's a new development coming in. It is a con, but it's also part of the growth, and it's just something that is coming, and again, I'm okay with it. I hate to see all the land go, but the growth is good as well. So another con is the hospitals. The hospitals can handle pretty much anything, but the trauma, I mean, that's if there's anything major, you're going north or south to Kyle or to San Antonio to a trauma hospital. And so that's an issue there, is that there's not a whole lot you do about it. You're kind of at the mercy of the EMS system to make sure that they take you to the right hospital, which the Braunfels EMS is great, and we have no issues of ever missing that or taking you to the wrong hospital. Another con is the summer tourism. The hotels get full, the restaurants get full, the traffic does pick up, because we can add easily on a like July 4th weekend, Memorial, Labor Day weekends and stuff like that, easy $20,000-$30,000 or people more to the population. So that is definitely an issue there, because the traffic gets even more gridlocked around town. But again, I can give you some back roads and kind of help you circumvent that. So one additional thing is summer heat and critters here in the Braunfels. The summers can be brutal. The summer highs are anywhere from the 90s to hundreds, and it can be that way for days on end, even 30 days or plus. So it's just in the evenings it'll get down to like 80s, low to mid 80s. That's our cool down for the day, and then back up into the hundreds. So it is hot. Now there's things to do to cool down, but that's just part of living in the southern part of Texas. It's hot. There's no way around that. But like I said, there's things to do here in town to help alleviate the heat. Talking about critters is the fire ants and scorpions. Fire ants are everywhere, so just it's a good thing to make sure you're wearing shoes. And scorpions, especially if you live on the west side of town where all the rocks are and stuff like that, you're more apt to see the scorpions, and they hurt. So that's one thing that people do complain about. I see it on Facebook and stuff like that. It's just how to get rid of the scorpions. So that's definitely a con, but it's minor in my book, but that's just one thing you need to know about. Last thing is the property taxes. Is that property taxes? I've had people say, Doug, why are they so high? And they're moving from like Nevada and Utah, places that don't have that have a state income tax. Or Texas does not have a state income tax. That's why our property taxes are a little bit higher. In my book, that's not really a bad thing, because it's supporting the schools and the roads and the infrastructure and stuff like that. So taxes are a little bit higher than what you may be used to, depends on where you're coming from. But it's definitely it's something that you need to know about. And one thing I failed to mention about the summer heat is the drought. Of course, the heat dries everything out. But when we get rain, especially in the spring, the Braunfels floods. And with two rivers, we have the Comal River and the Guadalupe River. And when I first moved into Braunfels, I always heard on the radio, or more so the TV, flash flood warning. And it's like, I didn't understand. My wife and I were talking about it. I was like, what's the big deal? Well, it didn't take long after I lived here and started working here with the fire department, going through several flood events, knowing it's like, okay, this is real. It's just the terrain is with two rivers and all the rock and stuff like that. And there's not a whole lot of drainage, all the development, all that water. When we get a 1 inch, 2 inch, multiple inches of rain, all that water's flooding, and it gets into the rivers, then it starts backing up, and then so it really creates issues. So especially if you're going to move here to New Braunfels, you need to make sure you have do your due diligence and finding out where the flood zones are. But it's not just according to the map. You need to talk to the locals that have been here through several floods, because there's areas that have flooded that people will remember. It's like, hey, you need to watch this area. It may not be truly on the flood map, but the locals know where the flood areas are. So definitely some cons to New Braunfels. It's a short list compared to the pros. It's a great place to live, great place to raise your family or to retire in. And so if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I'd be happy to answer them. And if there's anything I can do for you, just let me know. Talk to you soon.